The Hulu series Unprisoned, starring Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo, will not be renewed for season 3. It was canceled, and inquiring minds want to know why. What happened? We have your answers. The Hulu series Unprisoned, starring Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo, will not be renewed for a season 3. It was canceled. We have to admit we saw that one coming. It was on our list of it didn't hit TV. But many of you did not see it coming. You were shocked by the news. And the burning question inquiring minds want to know, why was it canceled? What happened? Especially with such a strong opening back in early 2023 when it was announced that our favorite scandal star, Miss Kerry Washington, Olivia Pope, would be making her return to another highly anticipated TV series. We had high hopes for this show, especially with it being an Onyx Collective, ABC signature produced series. It was already winning in our book. What could go wrong with this show? Not to mention the show's creator, the Tracy McMillan. Not to be confused with Waiting to Exhale's Terry McMillan. This is relationship expert Tracy McMillan, author of Why You're Not Married Yet, and its viral predecessor, The Blog Post, plus the novel You'll Know It When You See It. A lot of spiciness happening with Miss McMillan, and we're here for it. She's also a brilliant TV writer with works that include Necessary Roughness, Mad Men, and The United States of Tara. Yes, that Tracy McMillan. Oh, and another noteworthy producer with her hands in this show is Yvette Lee Bowser. Okay, you may not be familiar with the name, but trust me, if you're a fan of 90s TV, you're definitely familiar with her work. Living Single, Half and Half, that's all her through her sisterly production company. Not to mention, she got her start on A Different World. And she's been running and showrunning a slew of successful hit TV series ever since. Except for this show right here, Unprisoned, which is based on Tracy's actual life, if you didn't know. So, what went wrong with this one? Here are our top 5 reasons why we believe this show just was not a hit. In no particular order, so let's just start here. Number 1, this show started off strong, but somewhere along the way, it just lost its mojo. It was refreshing to see Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo in this type of family show. If you're familiar, you already know what this show is about, but if not, Delroy and Kerry play father and daughter pair, Edwin and Paige. The dysfunction of this family stems from Edwin's 17-year absence from Paige's life. By the way, that 17 years was because he was in prison, locked up. They won't let him for 17 years. Not to mention, she's a single mom of a teenage son who's trying to date but can't really because she's a mess because of her absent father and her mother. After her father went to prison, she was cared for by his then girlfriend before being adopted by a devout Christian white woman. A beautiful mess, right? A beautiful mess. By the way, this mess, Miss Paige, has a career in counseling other people on how to handle their mess as a licensed marriage and family therapist. Can you believe it? Her father is released from prison, and the mending of the father-daughter relationship and the brokenness kind of starts from there. And as mentioned, season 1 was great. It premiered with some of the highest numbers for Onyx Collective and received some pretty great reviews, with sites like Variety and Deadline calling it refreshing and viewers noting the perfect balance, calling it engaging and humorous. Even we have to admit, there were some scenes that were quite funny, like this one right here.
And she very generously offered to help me out.
Well, it's not right what the system does.
Oh, okay. So what do you have in here? We have some towels, and some bath mats, and socks, and condoms. Cool.
Sandy and I having lunch tomorrow.
Oh, great. Excuse us. Listen, Sandy, I'm not sure what has happened to you in your life, but you can do so much better than my dad. No, it's true because he's not taking you to lunch. He has no money. He also has no phone and no car. And he is just a bad idea for you, or any woman, for that matter. It's okay, because you're a winner. Shh. really
What are you?
phony.
Yeah, I need to come back here without you.
What?
You're blocking my game.
Cock blocking her father's game. Now that was funny. I laughed a couple of times at that one. Ran it back a few too. But even with moments like that one, the series still felt kind of like this. Or what she said. And for us here at It Hit TV, that feeling just continued all the way through season 2. Even with season 2 being a lot more settled and adding in some new characters from other It Hit TV series like Full House's extremely sexy John Stamos, also a therapist, and Make It Crip walk across the ceiling down in the valley where the, if you know, you know, P-Valley's Brandy Evans, who also made an appearance in season 2. Speaking of Brandy, who plays Mercedes, by the way, one of the top exotic dancers at the Pank on the show P-Valley, just in case you didn't know. Ironically, Brandy's character in UnPrisoned teaches a pole dancing class. She's also the girlfriend of the guy Paige is interested in, who works at the halfway house where her father was released. Long story short, Paige takes the class to try to show up the girlfriend at the behest of her younger self, and this happens. And down goes Frasier. Also another funny scene from this show. But this scene and how we got to Paige falling flat on her neck brings us to our next reason as to why we think this show just was kind of getting on our nerves. This little girl right here. Now, we already mentioned that Paige is a marriage and family therapist, a head doctor, and most trauma stems from your childhood, right? Well, this little girl represents young Paige around the time where all of her brokenness began and her father went to prison, and she lives in adult Paige's head rent-free. This little girl pops up at the most inopportune times with a potty mouth and a very forced neck roll. If Doing Too Much had two faces, it would look like these two right here. Little Paige and adult Paige. Matter of fact, let's rewind this scene just in case you're not familiar to see what I'm talking about and how Paige ended up flat on her neck, much like this show.
Do I smell a challenge? No, she's just being nice. It's my first class.
Nah, bitch, that's a flex. Sis isn't trying to give you her man. Hells no, if the competition gets too sexy, it's gonna be a wrap. And that's on period.
Okay.
I wanna try.
And you know what happens from there, right? Flat on her face. I'm sort of surprised it didn't lead to our next reason why we were just ready for this show to end. And that is this face. I mean, now we're just being picky, but if you type in Kerry Washington's cry face on the internet as we did, you're going to get a bunch of these ugly cry faces. And I think we're just kind of tired of it at this point. We've been seeing Kerry Washington's cry, ugly, lip quiver face since she played Nikki True. Do you remember that? And we're just kind of over it at this point. Love you, Kerry Washington, but not this face. This is what Fantasia refers to as an ugly praise. Now, another attribute for this show, many viewed as a positive. For us, we think it worked against the show, and that is, it was just way too lighthearted. Lighthearted with not enough scandal. You think Olivia Pope, you think Shonda Rhimes, you think drama when you see Kerry Washington. Now, that is not to say she cannot pull off comedy, because she absolutely can. But when it comes to a TV series, we gotta bring the drama. She did a recent interview after the show was canceled where she did say everything is not going to be scandal. Well, for Kerry Washington, it may very well need to be. And again, that is for a TV series. We're looking for 100 episodes. Take that into syndication. But for this one, it was good, but not great. And for the purpose of this video, when doing research, we definitely checked out the reviews to make sure it wasn't just us. And many agreed it was lacking something. It was very lighthearted. It was giving Hallmark, which is cute, but it could have been better received as a limited series, you know, with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then we're done. So we can be left with that, oh, that was really good. That was a good movie. And then in the words of Cynthia Bailey, now what else is going on? We didn't need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons of this one. Which brings us to our final reason why we think this show needed to be canceled. Okay, that's a little harsh. It didn't need to be canceled. It was actually pretty good, as we mentioned before. Pretty good, just not great. Great actors, great story. You would think 1 + 1 equals success, right? Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes, as with this show right here, great actors plus great story presents lukewarm show. Which brings us to number 5. There are so many other great shows to watch right now. One like this gets lost in the shuffle and will probably be better suited for a limited series, as mentioned before. I mean, it's not that the show was awful. It just wasn't great. It never fully left you wanting more. In fact, the season 2 finale cliffhanger was the most enticing part of the entire show. Her mom. They left you hanging with her mom. So many questions. What's that story about? Who would they have picked to play her mom? I can think of a few that popped to my head. Who do you think would have been a great Paige mom? Let us know in the comments. Hopefully, if they were to continue with this show, maybe on a different platform, they could get someone to play Paige's mom that would stir up some things, add a little bit more spice to this bland, under-seasoned meal that you might eat if you're really hungry and don't have any other options in the kitchen. A lighthearted show that, as we previously mentioned, we really had high hopes for, but this one just missed the mark somewhere and it fell short of making our list of It Hit TV. Did you like it? Are you going to miss it? Definitely let us know your opinion, whether you agree or disagree, in the comments. Now, UnPrisoned may not have made our list of It Hit TV on the lighthearted side, but this one definitely did. Speaking of high hopes, this one has high potential. Also lighthearted, a nice whodunit, which is always good. In fact, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the release of our top whodunit shows to watch this fall. In the meantime, if you're not familiar with high potential, check out this video to learn more about it. And if you want a great limited series to watch, you gotta watch this one, Fight Night, to know why they both make our list of approved It Hit TV.